At the starting of my high school course in psychology, there are five methods described, to five approaches to psychology that are given. And so in this video, we are going to talk about the five primary methods, five primary approaches to psychology. The first approach to psychology is the biological approach. The biological approach focuses on relation of your health and relation and its effect on your mind. For example, your hormones and your blood flow and your blood pressure and your heart rate. These things constitute, significant amount of you can say influence on your behavior. For example, you know high cortisol. For example, high cortisol behavior. A high cortisol person is typically more prone to stress out and burn out, and high adrenaline will be a flight and fight response, which is a type of behavior. So therefore, you can say that behaviors are affected, in fact, by our biology. So therefore, the approach of psychology, which relies on biology, is known as a biological approach to psychology. The secondary approach is not secondary. The second approach to you know psychology is the psychoanalytic approach, developed by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud is known as the father of this approach. So Sigmund Freud goes on and say that you know our civilization is insurgent. Everything there's this theory of this that most of our work are in fact just most of the things that we do are insurgent from unconscious activities, and the unconscious runs on libido, which is the sex drive, which is then sublimated, let's just say it's like a flowing river from which you can grow crops in different fields. You can reap your rewards in different fields. So Freud goes on and says that what the what we must do is kind of take and redirect this water into the useful fields. For example, I may have a drive to become athletic, but it is certainly bad for my social and economical conditions. It will just ruin my life if I just go on unchecked and go and fight some people if it's in my mood, just because of my mood. So we need to redirect this. We need to redirect this by, you can say, getting into martial arts, which is an excellent hobby which can help you physically and mentally and in many ways. So therefore, yeah, these are the approaches. This was the second approach, which is known as the psychoanalytic approach. The third approach to psychology is the humanistic approach by Carl Rogers. The humanistic approach, thinks humans as self-actualizing agent. We are people with free will, and we can, change ourselves. And the problems that arise are due to conflict in our value systems. What we must do is actualize what problems are there, and then we can consciously, yeah, everything most of the things are conscious, and so we can consciously change our behavior. That was the belief of the humanistic approach of Carl Rogers, which puts humans in a very honorable or very noble perspective, contrary to the you know psychoanalytic approach. Psychoanalytic approach has the idea that we have inherent tendencies in our unconscious, which the humanistic approach rebuttals on it. The fourth approach to psychology is the cognitive approach. See, there are three constituent factors of human psychology, yes, you can say. Three mental processes, you can say. One is experience, being exposed in the environment to multiple things. For example, you can be exposed to light, and by the grace of light you can see this video, because without light you won't be able to. So yeah, there are things. So experience is what everything experience, every input in your machine of mind. Secondary is the mental process. So you decipher something from it. You take, kind of you see a movie. There's the experience itself, which is kind of input. There is this cognition, which is the process of understanding it, and then there is an output, for example joy, or taking a teaching from that specific film, from that specific movie. So the cognitive approach you know relies on mentally kind of yeah mentally uh, yeah the cognitive approach relies on the mental, the cognitive things. For example, your mental processes such as the perception of things, what happens inside your head rather than your outright behavior. While the behaviorist approach focuses on things as kind of this transactional stimulus response, you know, dichotomy, you can say, stimulus response chain, you can say. Yeah, so it is about it. There are five approaches. One is psychoanalytic, one is behavioral, one is biological, one is humanistic, and then there is cognitive approach. These are the five basic and fundamental approaches to psychology.